This is the Author Blurb podcast, where readers and authors connect. We are here for you to learn and discover those authors who are not either large names or as popular as some might find, but they're entertaining, they're fun, and they're enjoyable to listen to in these interviews. So take the time, learn more about them, enjoy the interviews, and remember to go to authorblurb.com where you can find out more about them, about the shows, and other guests that we have. Welcome to Author Blurb. This is another review. Today I'm reviewing Scott G. Graham's book, Come As You Are. Now, I'm going to give you a real quick warning because some people might be bothered by some of the conversations in there. If you're worried about a book that discusses a gay relationship, two men, then you shouldn't really read this book because Scott does talk about his relationship and his civil union and things like that in his book. And it's really nothing concerning to me, considering I grew up with having people in my life that I've known to be gay. The fact of I had people throughout my work history who were gay and very close and very friendly to me. I also believe you do what you want to do as long as it doesn't affect me. After all that said and done, you're warned now. If it bothers you, go to another review. If it doesn't, listen on. So with Come As You Are, it seems more of a journal or a venting of Scott's grief from the loss of his partner. Now, you can pick up throughout this, it's a more of, I believe, a book that's meant to bring somebody an understanding of what he went through. You're not alone in your grief and things like that. It's a good start to understanding how other people are feeling and how getting through grief might not be what everybody around you thinks it is. You need to look at what's right for you, what works for you, because saying I'm fine might not be true, and you shouldn't have to say it just because people around you think you should be fine. We all deal with it in different ways. I will also tell you, this book does have quite a bit of cussing in it, and, you know, it's not something I'm going to let my kid read, especially anytime soon, just because it's topics I don't want him being exposed to, but my kid's also 5 years old. Now, with that being said, there's a lot going on in the book. He talks about his grief, about the car accident, if I'm remembering correctly in the book, that his partner went through, and the sights that he saw. Now, it sounds like his partner had a horrific passing, and, you know, I can understand the rage, the anger, all these things, because as Scott and I discussed in his other interviews, especially the most recent one, it's not other people's opinion when your grief ends. It's not other people or the government's decision of what's proper mourning. We all grieve in our own time. We all grieve in our own way. The book that Scott wrote, Come As You Are, looks, I guess the best way you could say it is it takes on a ranting, a venting, and him exposing himself to people to let them know that they're not alone in his way of his writing. He goes through and talks about the meditation that he used to help center himself, calm himself down. Obviously, Scott, if you read the book, Scott and I have a different view through religious beliefs and such, but I know the breathing process, the meditation, the different things that he does to get himself centered works for him. I agree with that point that you need to do what you need to do to get yourself centered, to get yourself calm, and to be able to endure the day while you're grieving and dealing with a loss. We all have, at least most of us, I should say, have dealt with the loss of somebody, the loss of uh, something that really hurt, and it's not something you forget about anytime soon. Personally, I've lost family members, I've lost pets, which most people that have pets have lost pets, and just understanding the loss and the differences and all this seems to be quite important. And in this book, I believe Scott is addressing that. Scott's bringing out his process, what he had to deal with going through talking to a therapist. Again, I'm not a therapist type of person, and it sounds like Scott wasn't either as he was looking into getting help. It was something that he was kind of pushed into because people thought that was the best way for him to deal with his grief. There's a lot in the book. It's not an extremely long book, but it's packed full of information. It's packed full of emotions of Scott, and it's packed full of him revealing himself and his process and the different things that he bared through to deal with it. I encourage people who, like I said, don't mind listening or reading about a gay couple and also doesn't get bothered with cussing in a book to pick up the book because it might help you deal with your grief. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. And as if you haven't picked up, the book kind of indicates that we all find our solution in grief in our own ways. But knowing somebody else has gone through pain like you're feeling, knowing that you're not alone and you have that strength through somebody else can be a powerful thing as well. So with that being said, it's pretty straightforward. Come As You Are is the first of the 2-book series that he currently has. I have not read the second one yet, but as Scott and I had a conversation about, in that second book, it leads you more into different techniques, different ways to improve and what so have you. You have to find the solution. If you're trying to build up yourself, trying to be better, read this book. Just be aware there's things in there that might bother people. There's things in there like the cussing that a little bit of cussing is fine for me, but the amount of cussing in this, I wasn't really thrilled about. But overall, everything in it came through. I understood what Scott was saying. I felt quite a bit of his emotions in the sense of his anger towards trying to get over things and what he did to keep the memory of his partner alive. We all have our things. We all have what we bear with to grow and to do so. Hopefully, Scott's book will do that for you and you find it helpful. All I can do is make suggestions and tell you what I think. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of cursing. There's discussion of gay relationships or homosexual relationships or however you want to say it. It's in the book. Scott also gives you a glimpse into the emotions and the things that people felt and saw when he got his civil union with his partner and how he felt with that. So several insights so that you can endure the emotions, you can bring yourself through. And the old saying, misery loves company, well, I guess that's usually because it's better to go through misery knowing that you're not alone in that misery. So with that being said, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming and listening to my review. I don't know if this was long enough to keep your attention, but hopefully you enjoyed it enough to listen to more reviews. Go listen to Scott's interviews. We've done 2. He was actually my first guest on the show and my first guest for the repeat of season 1 or season 2. But I enjoyed talking to Scott. I think he's fantastic to listen to. I follow him on some social medias because I enjoy some of the advice and some of the things that he thinks. He does coaching. He does all sorts of things that he puts himself out there to do better for the world. So with that being said, look up Scott. He has a profile on authorblurb.com where you can find the show, find his profile, find other authors' profiles, find the reviews, find a whole bunch of stuff. I try to make this all as helpful as possible so that the listeners, the readers, anybody here can find that author that you connect with, the author that you just feel really does matter to you, and you want to keep reading their stuff, or you want to reach out to them and ask them questions about their books. I have a slew of other reviews coming. I have a list that I'm trying to work through right now that'll probably take me through this year. And yeah, hopefully they're entertaining. They seem to be doing well so far that people seem to like them. So with that being said, as I like to say, I appreciate you being here. I hope you go. I hope you tell people about us, or me, tell about the Author Blurb show, have them come to the website, read the author's books that are on there. In fact, if you're not real familiar, I'm one of the authors that have been interviewed because I have a thriller trilogy, a crime organization book series out there. And yeah, I talk about it, and you can find that interview as well. So there's a slew of different genres, different types of authors, all kind of walks of life. But as a whole, they're all entertaining. I've enjoyed speaking with almost every one of them, and I believe you'll enjoy learning and listening to them as well. So finally, my final thank you and my final goodbye. I hope you have a good day. I look forward to you coming back, and hopefully you enjoyed enough to tell people, share it, rate it, make comments, whatever you want to do. If you have questions, go to authorblurb.com, where you can either write me a message through the contact us, or you can also hit the speak pipe, which is allowing you to leave a voicemail up to 90 seconds, I believe it is. So other than that, have a good day.